On the fourth day of Christmas, namely 90s came to me. Four delicious rumors, three serenity nows, two grumpy old men, and a Xena warrior princess.
Welcome to Namely 90s, the podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s as usual. I'm Andrew. Over there we've got Brandon. And
That's
today
me.
We have a very special version of our podcast. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well,
sorry.
yeah. We're on the fourth day. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone that celebrates it. And today's guest for episode 4 of our holiday special, which I don't remember what I was going to call it, but I guess it's 12 Days of Christmas specials at this point. We have on the podcast today a very special episodes, Patrick M. Dunn.
Very special podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Did I say episode? Wow.
You did.
Yeah.
That's okay.
There actually is a podcast called A Very Special Episode. They started after us. But
really?
They're not the enemy, though. They're not the enemy. I'll get into it in a minute.
So since I did such a terrible job of introducing you, Patrick,
no
why don't you tell us about A Very Special Podcast?
All right. Hey, guys. My name is Patrick M. Dunn. Long-time listener of this show. First-time guest. I've been listening forever. I don't know, since the beginning of quarantine, maybe.
Yeah, May-ish.
Seems
Right?
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Years in my mind.
Feels like it.
Yes, I'm the host of A Very Special Podcast. My gal pal, Kat Halstead, the author, she's actually stuck in traffic right now. She's supposed to get here. She just sent a hot text and she said there's been a really long red light in front of the Applebee's. You know that intersection, right?
Yeah. Is it long enough that she can get an order of bonus wings for us?
I mean, we can find out. What do you want as like a sauce? Like Chipotle?
I like the Chipotle is good.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a tangy, spicy chicken thing.
I'm pretty sure all they're doing is reheating those like frozen TGI Fridays appetizers and selling them at Applebee's. Everything's just frozen.
I mean, it works though. You're still gonna eat it.
Yeah.
The thing is, they say millennials are killing Applebee's, but I love Applebee's. Like, which millennial is killing it? That's what I want to know. But
every month they have that. Every month they have that $2. Like, what is it? Every other month that margarita special, you get some kind of margarita for $2.
Yeah, who could beat cheap drinks?
They closed the Applebee's in my town like 3 years ago, so I've not been to an Applebee's in quite some time.
It's a crime.
Damn millennials.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, if she gets here, I'll tell her to bring all that stuff. We have a podcast that we've been doing since 2014. The original premise was we'd watch very special episodes of television series, kind of like, I don't know, something horrible happens to Blossom. We kind of got bored with that premise really quick, and we're like, well, let's just do a random episode. We'll just spin the wheel. Like, we'll say we're going to do Elf, and we'll just look at we literally look at the episode titles, and we just go by whatever has the most catchiest title, and we pick it. And so we've been doing it. Actually, the whole way it started is one day. Like, we've been friends since 1997. We've never met in person. We only know each other from the internet.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
We met in a chat room. We shared interest in a short-lived soap opera, Sunset Beach, that was on the air for like 2 years back in the late 90s. It was made by Aaron Spellin, who made 90210 and Melrose Place. And it was like super teen-driven. So it was wild.
I don't think I know that one.
Nobody knew it.
Wow.
We're the only two people in the world that knew it.
Anything has
That's
a cult
amazing.
following, though. Literally anything.
Yeah. But all episodes are available on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch it.
Oh.
And so we became like friends, and we're just kind of sounding board for over the years. And we kind of like drifted apart for a long time, and then like early Facebook years, she found me on there somehow. And then just one day I just sent her a message. It's like, hey, do you want to start a podcast about TV series from yesteryear and discuss them over a glass of wine? And she was like, sure. Like, no further questions, just sure. And we just went for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's that. That's pretty much our story.
Nice.
We've been doing it for like 6 years now, and it's wild.
Yeah. It's like, I like that dynamic that you guys have. It's just like two friends getting together over a glass of, I guess it used to be wine and now it's whatever, but like our work statuses have shifted over the years. Like I'm usually available in the mornings and so is she. So we just get up immediately first thing in the morning and it's coffee usually. Fair enough.
Maybe like a seltzer water. If it works.
That, I mean, people that try to quit the juice drink that often. And can you tell us, or not us because we know, but can you tell our listeners where they can find you and like what your release schedule is like?
All right. So right now we're in the middle of our Christmas episodes. You can listen to them all on Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you can find a podcast, pretty much. I think they're on everything now, Spotify, Amazon. And if you like really want to communicate with us, you want to send us hot messages, you can go to Twitter. It's Very Podcast. I don't know why we picked that, but it worked.
I like it.
We're really horrible at our branding. Like we just went with what's available. So our Instagram is at A Very Special Podcast, and we have a Patreon too. We have one follower on there right now. So,
nice.
Please check it out. Maybe you can be number two. Maybe you can be number two. We'll send you a Christmas ornament if whoever's number two.
And it'll be a number two.
It might be. You never know. And we have all our episodes on YouTube also.
Nice.
I think you just go to YouTube and just search for A Very Special Podcast. It pops up. I don't actually know if they have URLs there.
And it actually reminds me, I cleverly forgot ours, but that's fine. People know it now. My whole intro is messed up.
Wow.
And then averyspecialpodcast.com, it's just a link to all of our old episodes and like some like random like blog posts that we threw on there one day just for no reason at all. So you can check that all out. Good times. We had like this big idea in the early days that we were going to just like post a blog every other day and all this stuff. And I was like, I can't do this. This is too much.
But Kat's a writer or an author. I mean,
the author. Yeah, she writes hot romance novels.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've read one of them. Sorry, Kat. It was too much for you. I'm not a reader. So
that's
she can release a series of audiobooks, but then that gets a little creepy, I think.
We actually have an idea where I'm actually gonna like drunk read her books, but we're still working out the kinks on that. Yeah.
Will that be like
catalso.com. I'm sorry, catalso.net. You can get all our books there if you want to get them.
Will that be like a special edition of your podcast for the drunk readings, or will it be a whole separate entity?
You know what, it might. If it catches on, it might be a separate entity because she has one specific one. This is the only one I've ever read. It's called The Spirit Board. It's like a Halloween themed one, and it's about this this young girl. She uses like a Ouija board. Well, it's actually a spirit board because trademark stuff,
right?
And she contacts some evil spirit from the early 90s. And it's actually a demon that looks like Jared Leto from My So-Called Life.
Wow. That's another deep cut right there.
Oh, it's wild. She did an audio recording of it on YouTube, maybe like around early quarantine times. So I think if you go to our YouTube page, I think you can find it.
Nice.
Huh.
Well, yeah.
I'll have to check that out. But that sounds intriguing.
I believe it's a novella. Is a novella like a short? It's not a short story, but a little longer than a short story.
Yeah, somewhere between a novel and a short story.
Apparently there is a distinction. I wouldn't have known that.
I mean,
I looked it up. It's official. It's an actual thing.
Am I the only one that reads books out of the three of us?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, like a website count, like reading news in the morning? Does that?
That's fair. I mean, I guess I don't really read anymore. I just listen to Audible in my car. But
millennials are killing books. Just so you know, just in case you were wondering.
Sorry,
just killing everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Killing our parents, killing our children. Wait, is it just me?
I don't know, but I have a cat hair in my eye. Why do I always have a cat hair in my eye when I'm on camera?
Because you have 5 cats.
Oh, that's true. That may be too many, possibly. I think it qualifies as being a kennel in this county.
I mean, if you add the children to the mix, it might be, in fact, a kennel. So yeah, let's move on to the Christmas or holiday portion of our holiday episode. So we watched Home Was for Holidays, the season.
It's season 3, episode 10. Yeah.
Yes, episode of ER, which aired on
December 19th, 1996.
Thank you.
Yes.
I came prepared today.
Hot scoop. This was the most watched episode of television this week. It had, hold on, I got the facts right here, 22 million viewers.
Jeez.
I saw,
What?
22 million. That's, I mean, that was apparently during that season, ER was averaging 20 million views still. And just the fact that 20 million viewers would tune into a single episode of TV is insane compared to like 1.5 that you get on average these days.
I think American Idol got like 3 million, right? Like
season 17 of NCIS. I'm sure they're not doing so hot or whatever it is. But I mean, ER was definitely a powerhouse back then. Like it is probably my all-time favorite show. And so amazing. I've watched it 7-8 times through probably. So it didn't take me long to get back into the groove with this episode.
All right, I'm going to throw this out there. I've never actually seen it all the way through.
Seasons 11 through 14 get rough.
Do you know what was the final clincher for me? Was when my boy Doug Ross left.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
I don't know. This is an Audible podcast, so I'm holding a picture of Doug Ross in the ring right now.
And for the people that are like me that barely know who George Clooney played, that would be Dr. Ross.
This is going to be controversial, but I wasn't a huge Doug Ross fan.
Wow.
I'm just
the charisma.
He made a lot of weird sounds.
I've watched maybe 10 episodes of ER in my life, so I'm behind
this one.
Yeah, including this one. I may have watched this one twice in my lifetime viewing. Now that I think about it, but as I was watching towards the end, where Dr. Ross he's like, I'm out. Peace to the staff, and then I was like, in my head, he's going to go right now and go play Batman, or not play Batman,
or like rob a casino.
He is Batman, and then he tries to pawn this girl off on the woman. I don't know her name.
Nurse
Carol Hathaway. Yes. Juliana Margulies.
Yeah. I thought he's doing that because he needs to go out and become Batman during the night and save the city that they're in. That was my headcanon for watching this episode.
Yeah, I like how in your bio it mentions The Good Wife. Isn't she the main actress in that show?
Oh, hell yeah, she is. That's so funny. The star. She's the star of The Good Wife, which is a show I've never seen all the way through either. If a show is on for more than 5 or 6 years, it's too much for me.
I think I mentioned this once in the podcast, but I once watched the entirety of ER during a semester of school, which equals to about 10 days of television, 45 minutes per episode, 15 seasons.
Wow.
And got like the best grades I've ever gotten somehow, while pretty much immersing myself in ER. It was a really weird experience.
I mean, that's impressive.
It was great.
There's a lot of educational opportunities in the show, I'm not going to lie, because right now I'm actually currently in nursing school, and I kind of use this as like a pop quiz for me. Like I watch random episodes of ER all the time, and they say something, I write it down. I'm like, okay, I got it. I know.
The funny thing is it's like kind of 1970s medicine, because Michael Crichton, who wrote it, obviously he was trained as an emergency physician, and but it was written like quite a bit, I think, before the show aired, so they had to update some things to get it to be good. But like if you look at all the medical shows over the history of medical shows, ER wasn't perfect, but it was by far the most accurate on the medicine, which is cool.
It's close. Scrubs, I think, is the most realistic one.
Yes.
As far as like the medicine or the interactions of the people?
Just everything, the whole vibe, the whole like hospital vibe is Scrubs.
They get it.
That's just the way it really is. It's everyone just is kind of crazy for working there.
Yeah.
In a hospital. All right.
And
I didn't say this. I actually work in an ER, so we kind of have like a special.
Wait, you mean House wasn't super realistic? Like they never do chest compression on anyone. They just like shock them 13 times, and they have a rhythm that's not shockable, and like no one's doing CPR. That's the thing that gets me.
And they find whatever was bothering them within 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like after a few tests, just run a few tests, and they got it.
I mean, to be fair on Scrubs, they did the most realistic thing, and instead of keeping a hospital, they somehow, over the course of 3 months in universe, transformed it into a hospital school. That's very realistic.
I think it's a different building, though. I think it's another place. Yeah, because
they just closed down Sacred Heart.
I think so. I think
it's been a while. I only watched.
Is he the lead guy, Kelso?
Yeah, Dr. Bob Kelso.
Does he die? I think. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't remember the end. The end is a blur because it flipped networks.
Yeah.
And when a show flipped networks, to me, that's it. Like,
it's rough.
Yeah. You're not good enough for whatever you were on before. NBC. Why should I follow you to ABC? The alphabet. Why?
Right.
Why should I do it? Give me 2 good reasons.
I only have
don't
one.
say Courtney Cox. I think she's in like a few episodes.
The thing that was crazy.
Courtney Cox. She was in the final season with Zach Braff.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
The thing about ER that's super crazy is like anyone in Hollywood has been in ER. Like they've had everybody in that show. Like, you can almost see it in everyone's credits.
It's like the who's who of Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, like this episode has Omar Epps as Dr. Gant, House alum, Kirsten Dunst, obviously, and then Dr. Doyle's portrayed by Georgia Fox. We're going through all the CSI right now. She's obviously Sarah Seidel. George Eads, who played the other guy from CSI. Like, the cast is just crazy. Oh, Margie Helgenberger was also in it. Like everyone in CSI was in it for some reason.
Oh, this was the training ground, like training camp for them.
I guess
CSI.
This is where they learned to ride the bike.
The thing I really liked was I never realized that it was shot in widescreen. Like they filmed it in widescreen, and then like they pushed it down for letterbox, and so all the old episodes they now just have in 16:9.
We did the X-Files too.
Did they?
A lot of shows did that.
Huh.
Yep.
Sweet. Have you watched the pilot recently? I watched it a few weeks ago.
Of the ER? Yeah, it's
very
actually
cinematic.
It's shot in a hospital, a real hospital, which the set was modeled after. And it's because originally I think it was supposed to be a movie, and then they kind of dialed it back to a show. But I feel like that it was more cinematic for sure. Like those continuous like panning shots where they're like kind of going around the action. They were the pioneer of that technique in television, I think.
You see a lot of the hallways and the inner workings of the hospital that you don't see in other episodes, really. It always kind of like overwhelms me. I'm like, wow, how can we even do this for the rest of the show?
But I think my favorite thing about this episode specifically, and I can say this, I think pretty definitively, is it's the only Christmas television episode where the first scene is about HIV. Like that is heavy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. 3 times in my notes, I wrote, Jesus, did I really pick the heaviest episode to
I think you might
review?
have. What a downer.
So I enjoy, I love Gloria Rubin. Is it?
Jeannie Boulet.
Boulet, that's it. All right. So I enjoy her story arc. It's great. It's amazing. And I actually enjoy her standing up to her staff in this episode where, because there's all these people whispering which employee is patient X, who has HIV. However, the part that's really off-putting to me in this episode was it was Dr. Green and Dr. Weaver and their public discussion of the policy of HIV in the workplace. It just bothered me. They went out and talked to everybody who wasn't a manager about it. I'm like, is there not a board?
These days, you guys would be they'd be crucified for that type of behavior. Talking about someone's medical status. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because they're just attendings, right? They're not.
But it's a good narrative device. So I get why they did it. It's just like that would not happen.
Also, before we
hard.
skip past it, I just really liked that it started with Bing Crosby's it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. That was probably big money at the time.
Well, you thought it was going to start out like, oh, it's a Christmas episode. Oh, this is going to be good. And then it's like, boom, HIV. Whoa.
And then the guy's on fire a minute later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Kids set the homeless man on fire. Like,
that's it. Okay. We don't see it, so I didn't really remember exactly.
That's like a decidedly Gen Z thing to do. Like that's the same type of person who eats a Tide Pod. So apparently, like, it skipped a generation, and then now it's the same people.
Well, I think like today, everyone's like, "Oh, kids today, they're horrible," but 20 years ago, they were lighting homeless guys on fire.
yeah,
no
right.
kidding.
Things don't change.
Yeah, right.
It's an endless cycle of, I don't know, a roving gang of teens just causing trouble.
After they played the Duke Nukem games, because
there's a reference to Duke Nukem, right? I think
Dr. Green.
Yeah, when he brought in the sled that he's going to give to his daughter, and he's like, I don't understand any of these TV product tie-ins and whatever Duke Nukem is. He looks angry or something.
Or he looks pretty nasty. I think he says.
That's what it was. Yes.
Was Duke Nukem like a TV tie-in? Like, I feel like that was just something that was buried deep in the back of a video game store in 1996.
Right, because it came out in 94. I should have.
We had it. I remember
we mentioned it. Yeah. No, we mentioned that in an episode.
There's a moment though where Dr. Green, so he walks in, he said, and there's like a Toy for Tots kind of barrel, and he like throws something in there, and it actually, like, I'm sure it was something that was probably better than that sled that he bought for his daughter.
Yeah, it's like a garbage can lid. What is that?
I didn't realize his daughter and ex-wife live in some like giant mansion. Like that.
They're in like the Santa Claus house.
His wife
like the Santa Claus house,
has an affair with some other lawyer she works with, and like his marriage slips away. It's a whole thing. But that's the thing. This is a very serialized. There's a story arc, but then you can watch an individual episode. But it's a little hard if you haven't been watching.
Can I just say that theme song so good. Like 90s new theme songs.
Yeah. I do miss like candid shots of people like in action for theme songs. Like, I'm sorry. I love that. I know it's cheesy and bad, but like when they look up at the camera and they're like doing something, that's great.
I even love like the filters they use to kind of make it look hip and modern for 1996 or whatever.
Especially the Black Doctor doing the fist pump in the hallway.
It's great.
Blue tint over him.
It's just wonderful. And there's like a build up to it too, because you see like the letters moving, kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
It's like
pre-Matrix letter moving.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like really the effects they had in the 90s. Yeah.
I love the computers too. I love the computers too. And they show the clerk people, like the clerks and the secretaries, and they're just in front of these giant monitors. And they're standing while they're doing their job. That always bothered me. They're always standing. Like, they work for 12 hours. They're not going to stand all day.
They're sitting.
Come on. They're
That's
sitting.
fair. That's true.
I know what it's like. I've been through it. I know what it's like. You're not going to stand in front of a computer desk and be like, answer phones and, hey, this is a call for you, Omar Epps. This one's for you.
That's not happening.
He's been out for 36 hours. What?
Well, to be fair, he was leaning towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
There's some heavy foreshadowing on that episode about what's to come too, by the way, with Omar Epps' character.
Is he going to kill himself? Like
he jumps in front of a train. Yep.
Is that the season? Is that
it is. Yep.
Is it the next
I feel
episode?
like the thing where like Carter cancels on him because like his girlfriend's not coming into town anymore, and then Carter cancels so he can hang out with Abby Keaton, like the pediatric surgeon wizard. He's like, oh no, I'm fine. It's cool. And then he's like, the next episode just jumps in front of a train, which is super sad. But also, like, that's another narrative about like the healthcare training. Like, that's how it, I mean, they don't all kill themselves, but like, that's how it is. You work long shifts. You're effectively drunk when you're working that long. Like, it's gotten better, but it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, there's like, I did overnights for like 2 years, and there was a point where, I'd work overnight. I'd have things I'd have to do during the day, go back to work after sleeping like 2 hours, and then coming home the next day after that, you're like at a red light, you fall asleep. Yeah, you literally fall asleep at a red light, and it's 7 a.m. and there's just traffic everywhere. It's scary.
But he was fortunately reincarnated as Dr. Eric Foreman on House and never did any CPR.
Oh, that's why he looks familiar. Yeah, Eric Foreman.
Yeah. Sorry.
That 70s show.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, wrong one. What was his name?
Eric Fromage.
Hold on, now I'm confused. Oh crap!
Well, while you're looking that up, Kirsten Dunst, this was her fourth appearance as...
It was Eric Foreman.
His name was Eric Foreman on a Fox show after that 70s show.
I never made that connection. You're right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Is the spelling the same?
With a C and a F-O-R-E.
I'm so bad at Googling stuff. Like,
okay, and while he Googles that...
It's spelled the same.
Huh. Strange.
No, there's an E. Sorry, there's an E in Foreman for the house one. So anyway,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I never made that connection. That's so funny.
Kirsten Dunst, hot off of interview with a vampire the previous year, I think.
94-ish, I think it was.
94.
Yeah, filming wise, it lined up right. I'm assuming.
Well, because she was 14 when this episode aired, if I did my math correctly.
Charlie was the character. Charlie Chimiango, I think was her name.
Charlie was 14, but also, unless the age is incorrect on her Wikipedia page, she was 14 in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like,
I have a lot of thoughts about the storyline. I remember at the time the first time I saw this, I thought this was fun and exciting. And then just watching this now, many years later, it's like Kiki Dunst is just widely taking advantage of Doug Ross. And you know what? Doug Ross just blindly believed her, everything she said. Would you, just think of yourself now as an adult. Would you just believe everything she had to say to you?
A homeless teenage child?
Well, if she was a famous actress, I probably would.
Probably not. Yeah. I mean, she is an excellent actress. Just her character is not an excellent actress.
No, it's definitely a weird storyline. I do appreciate that he's like, yeah, she totally can't sleep at my house. Like that's not going to happen.
That's good for optics. That was a good call.
Yeah.
I think that comes up again though. I think at the end of the season, I think there is an accusation against Doug Ross.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think that might be true. It somehow can't remember, which is kind of strange given how much I watched. But again, just going back to how heavy this episode was, the things it tackled were HIV positive in the workplace,
wife beating,
child neglect, beating, dealing with career disappointment when Eric LaSalle, Dr. Benton, gets shot down for his pediatrics thing,
which was just tucked in. It was 30 minutes in of a 45-minute episode, and they're just a 1-minute scene. I'm like,
and then
this was in
end,
the synopsis. I was expecting an entire. Well,
at the end, navigating divorce and your family is slipping away from you. I'm like, good God, this episode.
But the shining moment of the episode for me, and I think a lot of ER episodes do this, they always have one quirky patient. Yeah. And it was a woman who talked to a puppet. Yeah. They always just throw one in just to let you know that the ER isn't always a horrible place.
Wait, what happened to her? Because all I remember is
a guy came for her.
Yeah, a guy came for her
husband, maybe.
But nothing came of that.
That's an ER staple though. I feel it always happens on the show. There's always
they'll throw something interesting in and then just misdirect somewhere else.
I thought you were going to go with the person at the beginning that brought in the Christmas goose and referred to herself as being part of the Mighty Morphin Gender Changers.
Excuse me, Andrew. That was misunderstood of the Mighty Morphin Gender Changers.
I have watched that show so many times. I've never caught that line. I think it's because I had headphones in, and I was laughing so hard when I heard that.
I might have missed it again. I don't get the reference.
Power Rangers reference.
Oh, I know that, but
she was holding the Christmas goose, and then Carol Hathaway was trying to get it away from her, and she's telling her whole story, and it's
my name is misunderstood. Of the Mighty Morphin Gender Changers.
My favorite part of that whole scene, though, is just the way the nasal cannula was just falling out of her nose the whole time. She was not struggling to breathe. I don't know why they had it on there.
That is a good point.
It looked, and the goose was super dirty. That was it looked really inedible. I'm not sure what that even was. I've never seen a Christmas goose that looked nasty.
I feel like she won a contest at whatever drag bar she performed at that night. There was a feed your family night at the local cabaret, and she won the contest. She's like, I am not letting go of this. I've been working all year for this. And then Nikki the dog took it.
I like how Randy, the desk person who wears outrageously, I don't know what's the clothing she wears is always outrageous. And she like opens the bag and sees this disgusting Christmas goose and just like drops it and kicks it under the desk. Like, this is perishable. Someone put it in the fridge and she just kicks it under the desk.
And then Mickey the dog finds it 20 minutes later.
Saint.
And then Mickey the dog gets pancreatitis.
Poor Mickey the dog. You know,
is that what that was?
I love this kind of ties into, because I'll be at work sometimes and you'll always have a patient that is down their luck. Maybe they're traveling or something. And they have the family dog with them, and they have to like bring the dog into the hospital. And it's always joyful bliss when there's a dog in the hospital, and it'll come and will hang out like with everybody, and everyone's petting it and bringing it treats, and it's great.
And
so
ER does that storyline at least twice, maybe more.
Well, I thought it was interesting
twice a season.
Once they cleaned all of the stuff off the dog, I'm pretty sure that was the dog from Frasier.
Eddie.
Yeah,
ooh, could it have been?
Like
Eddie was a Jack Russell Terrier, wasn't he? Was he wire-haired though? I don't know.
And or Wishbone, but no, Wishbone doesn't look like that. I'm pretty sure that was the dog.
Short hair.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the dog
Wishbone
from
had
Frasier.
like spot on his eye, right? Like
but he looked like Eddie the dog from Frasier.
Who?
I don't know.
We have to do a side by side, and do some detective work.
I guess I'll have to do that in post and send it to you guys on Twitter.
Well, I mean, they're both on NBC. Maybe they filmed in the same.
That's what I was saying. Like
they need the cuts.
Like NBC always uses Crystal the monkey, like in Community and Animal Practice, which is a terrible, terrible show that I watched every episode of.
What?
You don't remember Animal Practice?
Oh my gosh!
Maybe I was like asleep that weekend.
Who was the main actor in that again?
Oh, I don't remember his name, but there's the third billing.
George Clooney.
Yeah.
The third billing was Bobby Lee from Mad TV.
Oh, you know what?
That show is super painful. I just can't, especially as someone in that industry. It's painful.
There's a monkey, Crystal the monkey's riding around on like she wears a Dr. Lab coat first of all, and then rides around on some sort of vehicle.
I'm sorry. Any show with a monkey is just not going to do. It's just not now. Anyway.
Has there been wasn't there like a show BJ and the Bear in like the late 70s that had a monkey on it? It was quite popular.
No, I feel like in the 70s monkeys were fair game.
I
but
mean,
like in the mid to like the 2000s, people were like, how are they treating the monkey? Like, I don't know, they're kind of
it's concerned.
Well, I mean, even in the 90s we had Ross Geller's monkey for the first 3 seasons.
It just seems like it's such a jump the shark thing. Like, oh, we're bringing a monkey onto the show. Okay.
It's not like, let's let the couple have a baby. Let's just bring in a monkey.
I feel like there's like things in the middle, like the producers are at the table and there's a hat in the middle of like random slips of paper and they're like, we don't know what to do. And they just reach in and it's like, add a monkey, go.
Everyone throws in an idea, all 20 of them, they all throw it in there. So like we could have got like Topham Stapler. You never know.
But I love like the end where like the dog straight up bites the stepdad.
No, not Clippy.
And it's like, good dog. Yes, I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. If they go to... It's not Rachel is the daughter, right? Rachel.
Yeah, it's
daughter.
Wait, whoa. Rachel is Dr. Green's daughter. It is Rachel Green.
Whoa.
From Friends, yeah.
So his wife's name is Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer
Green. And then it's like her new house with her lawyer husband. So they're like rich. And he lives in a crappy apartment and has like this dirty dog that he found that bites people. It's really sad.
And the lawyer guy buys 2 adorable like yellow
Labrador puppies. Yeah.
And they're like cute. And they're like all posh and just recently bathed. And the little girl's playing with them, and he shows up with this poor scraggly little thing. Yeah, probably has like fleas, you name it, mange, everything, and
possibly rabies.
Yeah, seriously.
They don't. I think he bites the lawyer guy, and the other guy's like, is this thing like up to date on its shots? And like Dr. Green is like, he doesn't even answer because he doesn't know and he doesn't want to incriminate himself further because I feel like he's been through this.
Well, and the guy's a lawyer. Like your dog just bit a lawyer. Like that's not going to be good for you. I'm just saying.
And then they close the door and he's like, good dog. And he like pets him.
I love that.
I don't think, does the dog ever come up again? Nikki the dog?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's like in his apartment later in other future episodes, but not for long.
Like a fun April episode, we get like a quick shot of the dog. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Forgot about it.
I mean, the dog is pretty old.
Yeah, they think they said it was like 8 years old, right? I think that's what they established.
But no, I mean, I just really love the episode. It's like I said, it's a downer, but apparently a lot of people liked it, like around 22 million people. So
22 million people were right.
That's intense.
It was a good episode. I quite enjoyed it. It made me think I should go back and watch for ER many days from now
Everyone should do it at least once. I mean, for me, I'm like, because of my profession, I'm like medically inclined, and I just find it to be a really good show. And I'm a junkie for Michael Crichton things. So, yeah, it's just the best.
It's a wonderful treat. If you haven't gone through it, you got to go through it, at least till the end of Doug Ross, as far as I got. I'm not gonna lie, I dabbled in another. I remember John Stamos was on the show at one point.
So it's hard after season 8. It gets a little rough. Seasons 11 through 14 are particularly awful, and then season 15, like they bring in Angela Bassett, John Stamos is there, like there's some bigger actors, and it actually gets good for the last season, which is cool, you know.
It's like a victory lap kind of thing. They go around one more time. I think they bring back Carter. Doesn't he come back from his
a little bit, because he's like super rich and like, you know, but then his son died and there was this whole like story arc with that. But I think he comes back and does some stuff, because he was my favorite character.
He was always a good time. It was fun.
He wasn't really featured in this episode.
Not much.
Yeah.
A little here or there.
Like,
was he having a thing with the like with one of the other
he's with
lady?
He's with the pediatric surgeon lady who is like mentoring Peter Benton, but it's super awkward when he's like in the office getting a gift and he like has to hide under the desk and hear his boss getting just like cut down, having an ego deflating moment. That's just like, that's rough. He's like, oh, you know.
And then we get this like post-coital like discussion of how the Grinch stole Christmas.
Who hasn't had that at least once? No.
That plus it cuts to a little bit later when they're just spooning with the lights off, and they try to recreate "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh yeah.
I was like,
there's a lot going on here.
And then she's shipping off to a third world country for Doctors Without Borders or something.
One of those things, yeah.
Oh yeah, she's going to Pakistan to like do stuff. Oh, the one thing we didn't talk about is like the whole thing with the baby that she Charlie brings in, like the sick infant.
Oh yeah,
and like the lady,
drug addict's child.
Yeah, like the lady can't understand that like its kidney was bleeding and needed to be removed. Like it's just, that whole thing was crazy to me.
See, this is where I was I'm like, what's going on here? Because it's been a while since I've seen these particular episodes, and I remember something kind of shifty about Kirsten Dunst's character earlier. And didn't she, in the first appearance, she pretended she had a baby, and it was that same baby? I feel like that was the story.
I think that is true. And she was like pretended to be stabbed at one point at the Halloween episode.
It was a Halloween costume. I don't know. So she shows up with a random baby, and it's like, you got to save my baby. And Doug Ross just immediately is like, all right, well, let's get to work. And I'm like, hold on. I don't know, because it's 1996. Is there no like, where are the parents kind of thing? What's going on? Should we call DSS? Does this culminate? I can't remember. Does this culminate in the storyline where he like does the rapid detox on the baby and gets fired, which writes him out of the show? Or that's another episode, I think.
Okay, I didn't know if this was related somehow.
I mean, it might.
I should know.
It might be the origins of it, but it doesn't come up in this episode because there's a point where Doug Ross takes Kirsten Dunst to lunch, and she like steals his wallet. So like now she knows where he lives. And
that was this episode.
Yeah. And he gets home from work, and she's like there on the doorway, and he's like, "We gotta go." So he takes her to Carol Hathaway's house, who's having her like Ukrainian Christmas party.
It's like ridiculous.
It's like, I don't know. It's are you just gonna take a wayward teen just to a random party, or would you not just like find an empty room in the hospital and be like, hey, just sleep here for the night?
That's true.
We'll figure it out in the morning.
All right.
But instead, let's go to Carol Hathaway's house.
Yeah.
Her whole family's there.
Hopefully your whole judgy family is with you, all listeners out there. We're gonna have to wrap this up. My battery's dying on my laptop, and we've talked for almost 40 minutes at this point.
Do we have time to fit quick plugs in at the end here?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say that's it for this holiday edition of Namely 90s. Thank you to Patrick from a very special podcast for coming on. On. Can you let our listeners know where to find you? And
Yes, you can follow us on Twitter at Very Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at A Very Special Podcast. We're also at veryspecialpodcast.com. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, just you name it, it's probably there. If not, just go to like the normal podcast site on Apple and just do it all the time. Listen to us and we'll appreciate it. I'll write you a handwritten letter thanking you for listening.
You heard it here, folks.
That's inspiring. I'm going to start doing that.
And then you can find. You also heard Andrew say he'll do this.
Yes.
I'm gonna bow out of that. But you can find us on Twitter at Namely90s with the 90s, or find our personal accounts at bshwitty and at NamelyAndrew, and wish us a merry happy. You can also contact us through our website, Namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, Mark Green, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts at. I'm Brandon, and that's Andrew and Patrick from just Patrick from Very Special Podcast. And Andrew and I will catch you tomorrow.
All right.
Deuces.